Hello, TESOL students. This is just a quick video that's going to take you through the process of answering Google Classroom questions. Now, some of you were able to do this fairly simply on your own. Some of you might need a little bit more help, and that's what this video is all about. Okay, so what I'm showing you right now, this is the teacher view of a Google Classroom. So what we do is we can just create a Google Classroom question here, and then what we see is how many are turned in, assigned, turned in late. We can see all of that here. Okay, so let me take you to something, another view here, which is going to help a lot. You can see here, the only way to do this is to show an actual class. So with a Google Classroom question like this, I can see how many have turned it in. That means they've submitted it and I haven't given a score yet or returned it. Assigned, that means the student has not answered yet. And you can also see graded. So these ones have been scored and returned. Okay, so that's the teacher view. Now, let's show you the student view. Okay, so here's the student view of a fake class that's being used just for this video. So let's look at these questions. How should we answer a Google Classroom question? Now, it's 12:37 now, this is due at 12:50. I better answer or it's going to be late, right? So let me type my answer, and I can type right where it says type your answer. That's where you want to type, not down here where it says add a class comment. Okay, that's a big mistake some of you made. So this is my answer. As I type, the turn in button gets dark because there is something to turn in. So there it is. That's my answer, and I'm going to click turn in. See, now it says assigned, but when I turn it in, notice this as well. This is reminding you that you're not going to be able to make changes. That's because this question was asked with the edit function turned off. So sometimes the Google Classroom question, you'll be able to revise your answer later, sometimes not. Now, for the purposes of SLA class and even practicum, I think there's no problem with having them all with the editing function enabled, so you can change it before the due date. All right, so I'm turning it in, and now I see that it's been turned in. I can relax. I've done my part. Now I just need to wait for the teacher to give me a score and some feedback. So that one is done. Now let's see what happens if we have another kind of question. Okay, now this one has been asked with the edit function turned on. So again, this is my answer, and I'm typing where it says your answer, not where it says class comment, and I'm going to turn it in. So now I've turned it in, I'm good to go, but wait a second, what if I forgot something? So then I can click on edit answer, and this is the part that I forgot. Okay. So now I can click turn in. All right, and I can continue to edit that answer as many times as I want before the due date, before this time. Then it won't let me edit because it's not fair to edit something after it's due, right? But just make sure if you click edit that you click turn in again. Otherwise, your edited version is not going to come through. All right, so that is answering Google Classroom questions. Now, I'd also like to show you just some other things to think about when you get these things back, when they're returned to you. So you can see different messages when they're returned to you. and I put them together in this little Google Slides presentation. So if we go through them one by one, this is what happens if you have not turned anything in and the due date has passed. You will see this word missing. Okay, so it's past the time and you haven't turned anything in yet, and it says missing. Now you can still type something and you can still click turn in, but it will be turned in late. And remember, for SLA, that means it's not worth 0.5 points anymore. Now the most you can get is 0.25 if that's within 24 hours. After 24 hours, it's going to be a 0 if you turn it in late. So make sure you are paying attention to those due dates and times. Okay, so this is the message that you get if you turn in the Google Classroom question answer late. Okay, so it's turned in late, it's after the due date and time, so you can't do anything with it. But, and because it's late, right? So you can't edit at all. So what will you see if your question is answered and it's submitted by the due date and it's returned with the score? Well, you're going to see your score here. There's your answer that you can view, and you'll probably have a comment from your teacher. So that's what you want. Okay, you want 1 out of 1, and you want a comment from the teacher, and you want it to say graded. That tells you that it's completely finished and you did the right thing, nothing to worry about. So what will you see if your question is answered, it's submitted by the due date, and it's returned without a score? Well, your teacher can't give it back to you without a score exactly. So what that means is they have to put a 0. And remember, in SLA class, if you answer and it's past 24 hours late, then it's a 0 automatically. And this is what you would see in that case. You would see, yes, it's graded, but the grade is 0. And so that's kind of the view. Now, this one is already graded, so you can't really do anything to it. So what will you see if your question is not answered or submitted by the due date? Again, you're going to see it says assigned. You have the option to turn it in here after you type your answer. And what will you see if your question is answered and submitted by the due date? I think we've seen this already. Basically turned in, you have a point, edit answer, there's your answer. And usually you're going to see a comment from the teacher as well. All right, and that's all that we have for you. If you still have questions about answering Google Classroom questions, please feel free to either leave a comment here in this YouTube channel, or you can go ahead and email me if you know my email. That's david.norton@sungmyungtesol.info. All right, thank you so much for joining me, and if you'd like a video about anything else, please feel free to ask and I will create one for you. All right. Bye, everybody.